The Leisure Suit Larry video game series created by Lowe and Sierra Online is known for its humour, which often includes adult themes and satire. Over the years, there have been discussions about the context of the series, particularly around its issues of sexism and stereotyping. While the primary focus of criticism has been on the portrayal of women and sexual themes, there has also been instances of the game including racial stereotypes and insensitive jokes. These elements reflect the broader trends in the media at the time the games were created, particularly in the late 1980s and 1990s, when social norms around humour and representation were different from today. Some critics argue that some context in the series can be seen as problematic by modern standards, but it's essential to consider its context of when these games were made. The intent of the creators was more about pushing boundaries and challenging taboos rather than promoting racism. While the primary focus of criticism has often been its portrayal of women and sexual themes, some have pointed out instances of racial stereotypes and insensitive jokes. So let's break it down. To understand Leisure Suit Larry, we need to look at the broader trends in media during the 1980s and 1990s. This was a time when social norms around humour and representation were vastly different from today. Many forms of media, including TV shows, movies and video games, included content that we would now consider problematic. In Leisure Suit Larry, some jokes might come off as offensive by today's standards, but were these games intentionally promoting racism, or were they just a product of their time? Lowe, the creator, has stated that the intent was to create humour that was edgy and risque, not to promote racist ideologies. The humour often relied on exaggeration and caricature, while it can be problematic but was more accepted at the time. Modern audiences have a different perspective, and rightly so. Our understanding of what constitutes appropriate and respectful representation has evolved. Many older games, including Leisure Suit Larry, are being re-evaluated through a new lens. Right, so we've now reached the point in the game where the insensitive jokes start, and before we crack on, I'd like to show you my own copy of the game. So I've had this since it come out in the 90s, and it's a little bit battered, as you can see. It's got some tape over. So this is the front cover. I don't think it's complete as well. There's a few things missing. And then the back as well. You've got Lowe there hiding in the bushes. And it just says a few things at the top as well. Critics react. An amazing combination of James Bond and Buster Keaton. Watch out America, here comes Leisure Suit Larry. Can Leisure Suit Larry the movie be far behind? Don't think that's happened. The first adventure with a sex change, at least no surgery is involved. And the game is so addictive. If you don't get your broker on the line, blame Larry. You can just make it out there on the top. So inside, as I said, don't think it's complete. Little Sierra booklet there on other games, King's Quest and all that palaver. Leisure Suit Larry 5 is also there. The game is actually just paused just behind me there. So this game, I've done a video on it quite a while ago, and basically it was in storage for ages, and I decided to get it out and see if it worked, and it did work. And also in the box was at the point where I saved it in the 90s, where I just stopped playing it because it was just too bloody hard. We didn't have any YouTube back then, and you get to a certain point in games, I used to give up. So it's on 5 discs, but today Leisure Suit Larry 3 is going to be powered by Amiga 4 / Amiga Game Selector as well, or AGS. So the only other thing I've got left in this is the booklet as well. Now I can never pronounce that. Nontoonyt, which is an island which Larry's on, and it's just basically a little guide to the island. So back cover, Hertz rent a bike, and we have just various things that you come across in the game. Is that the Punk Flamingo Disco? MS-DOS, Atari ST and Amiga, and basically how to play. I don't know if that's going to be overexposed. I'm just going to go to this very quickly. So basically, I'm not going to read through all that, but what I want to show you is the Comedy Hut, which is what this video is about. So the Comedy Hut we deliver this week presents Paul, live Sunday through Monday nights. Don't miss this tasteless display of Paul. Insult your favourite ethnic groups. Special appearance by Bob Alou on drums. This engagement's only, no cover, 1 bottle minimum, 777 Palmito. So I'll just show you that as well, what it says. So on the very, very last page is Fat City. And if you've played this game before, you will know. So you've got little things like your number for your, when you got divorced in the game. They're the solicitors, the witch doctor as well. Cherry Tart, the performer in the club, I think. As I say, I've got the Comedy Hut paused in the background there. I'm just going to type in 3 ethnic groups. Now, I'm not singling anyone out. It's just going to be, I think, white, Pakistani and Jewish. You can literally type in anything and it throws back jokes. So anyway, without further ado, let's get into this game and let's see how insulting Paul can be. Right, so as mentioned, powered by, if you can just see it there, the mighty Pi 400 / Pi Amiga / AGS. Right, okay, so let's come out of that. And I think if we sit, move in front of the chair, obviously, and then sit. There we go. Show should start. So, and now, ladies and gentlemen, the world famous Comedy Hut is proud to present a legend in his own mind, Paul. Right, good evening, ladies and germs, says Paul. Always the snappy starter. Okay, folks, we're going to try something different tonight. Please tell me the name of your 3 favourite ethnic groups. It doesn't matter to me which you choose. I've got enough jokes to insult anyone. So we're going to go for Jewish being the first, white, and is that correct? Pakistani? Yeah. Let's get on with the show. Right, okay, here we go, it's the first one. Is that recording? Yes. What is 2 hours of begging? White foreplay. A Pakistani man walked into a bar with a pig under his arm. The bartender said, "Did you win him in a raffle?" And the pig replied, "Yep." That's gone over me at that one. A 70-year-old man was in his doctor's sobbing uncontrollably. "Doc, you've got to help me. I've just recently married a 21-year-old gorgeous girl built like a brick shipyard, and all she wants to do all day is have sex with me." The doctor replies, "Some problem. So why do you need my help?" "I can't remember where I live." Do you know the best thing about sleeping alone? You can have sex anytime you want. Right. Do you know how to break a Jewish man's finger? Punch him in the nose. I don't know. Do you know why they take a census in a Pakistani neighbourhood? Easy. Flood the basements. I've just learned the difference between oral sex and sushi. It's the rice. Do you know the most dangerous job in a Jewish neighbourhood? Go on. riding shotgun on the garbage truck. Okay, my wife bought us a new waterbed. I call it the Dead Sea. These are just random, normal, if you want jokes put in. It's just to fill it up. A Jewish man called his wife and said, honey, I'm at the doctor's office. He just finished my exam and says I've only got 12 hours to live. His wife replies, oh sweetheart, that's terrible news. What will we do? The Jewish man said, I thought tonight we should have one great last fling. Fancy dinner, a show, dancing, everything. Then we'll check into a hotel and make love all night. The wife replied, easy of you to say, you don't have to get up in the morning. Once the Pakistani football team played the Jewish football team, at the end of 3 quarters the score was tied, 0-0. Just then a train went by. The Pakistani heard the whistle, thought the game was over and went home. 6 plays later, the Jewish team scored. A Pakistani man was so stupid, he studied all weekend for his urine test. What's the difference between 2 terrorists and 2 Pakistani women with PMS? You could negotiate with the terrorists. I don't. Have you tried the new Jewish-Japanese restaurant yet? It's called Sosumi. Once when I was a teenager, I stopped at the drugstore to purchase some of those necessary supplies. I told the pharmacist, better give me a dozen. I've got a hot date tonight with a school tramp. When I got to our house, a mother insisted I join her for dinner. I offered to say grace and I prayed and prayed and prayed. When I finished my date, leaned over to me and said, why Paul, I had no idea you were so religious. I replied, and I had no idea your father was a pharmacist. Which I think I've heard that one before. A white man was talking to a Pakistani man. I'm so unlucky. The Pakistani man asks, really? Why, what did you say that? Why did you say that? Why? Just last night, that beautiful hunchback girl stood me up and after I brought her flowers, I dug the hole and everything. A young lumberjack had a terrible accident with his chainsaw and went to the doctor's office for stitches. As the doctor began to apply the anaesthetic, the lumberjack just laughed. Doc, I won't be needing any painkillers for a while. A little old wound like this. The doctor replied, son, this is going to hurt a lot. Are you sure? Of course, I'm sure, said the lumberjack. Why in my entire life, I've only felt pain twice. Once when I squatted down to relieve myself in the woods and got my testicles caught in a bear trap. The doctor cried, my God, that's terrible. But when was the second time? When I reached the end of the chain. An elderly couple were just finishing their annual physical exam. The doctor proclaimed them in perfect health. The wife said, but doctor, what can we do? I'm afraid we're going to catch this AIDS virus. The doctor responded, don't worry, there's no way you could be in a high-risk group. But doctor, she replied, remember we do have annual sex. Do you know who won the White Beauty pageant? No one. So these 3 guys were stranded together on a desert island. The Jewish guy finds Aladdin's lamp buried in the sand. He says, I wish I were home, and poof, he vanishes into midair. Well, the white man grabs the lamp and says, I wish I were home too, poof, and he vanishes, leaving the Pakistani man holding the lamp. The Pakistani man, he says, gee, now it's lonely here. I wish they hadn't left me. That's quite funny. Do you know the worst thing about being an atheist? You have no one to talk to when you're having an orgasm. How can you tell the white pirate? He wears an eye patch on both eyes. These have got to be just random, these. Do you know how to sink a Jewish battleship? Put in the water. That could be, again, that could be anyone. Why did the Pakistani pervert cross the road? Because he was stuck to the back of the chicken. Oh, God. Once I had a great thing going on with an Eskimo girl. Unfortunately, she broke it off. See, this fella's smoking, these are talking, these are doing nothing. That actually looks like Lowe. So yesterday I went to a meat department in the new Keneewauwau supermarket down in the beautiful downtown Nontoonyt mall. They were running a special on human brains. Jewish brains were $4.99, Pakistani brains were $6.99, and white brains were $39. Hang on, $39 per pound. I asked the butcher if Jewish brains are $4.99 a pound and Pakistani brains are $6.99 per pound, how could white brains be $39 per pound? He replied, do you know how many white guys you've got to go through to get a pound of brains? How long is this on for? A man complained to his doctor, said my wife, say what, well get rid of that one because we want the ethnic jokes. Why did the chicken cross the basketball court? He heard the referee was blowing fouls. A Jewish woman on her way home from market was carrying a duck when a drunk staggered up to it and said, hey, where'd you get the pig? The Jewish woman replied, you drunken fool, that's no pig, it's a duck. And the drunk said, quiet Jewish, I was talking to the duck. Did I tell you about the one about the Pakistani guy who was messing around with his sister-in-law? He really had it in for his brother. Right, we'll have a couple more, then we'll round it up, I think. Do you know where the Pakistani guys have been stealing all those police cars lately? They saw the 911 and thought they were Porsches. I'll have a couple more, we'll round it up. Right, do you know how to recognise the bride at a Pakistani wedding? She's the one with the braided armpit hair. Oh man. Is it finished? Did you hear about the Pakistani guy who won a gold medal in the last Olympics? He had it bronzed. There's a lot of Pakistani jokes. Did you hear about the Pakistani man who was so lazy? He married a pregnant woman. My wife is so ugly, a peeping Tom threw up on our window ledge. 6 months ago my wife had her credit card stolen. Tonight I learned this Pakistani guy took it, but I'm not going to turn him in. He spends a lot less per month than she did. Right, we'll have one more. Let's make it ethnic. Here we go, another Pakistani joke again. That must be one of the key, if that makes sense, ethnic groups you got to type in. Do you know how to recognise a Pakistani virgin? She's the one that can run faster than her brothers. Right, I think we'll round that up there. Alright, one more. Do you know how to tell a groom at a white wedding? He's the one with the clean bowling shirt. Right, I'll tell you what we'll do. We'll stand. Do you know the difference between a dead dog and a dead white lying in the middle of the highway? The skid marks in front of the dog. Yeah, just letting me know that it's rude to stand up when he's talking. Now, do you know how to get 25 white guys in a phone booth? Throw in $1. Right, we'll exit that because it could go on forever. One more, because he's not letting us leave. Do you know why Pakistani stadiums have artificial grass? To keep the cheerleaders from grazing during half time. Right, let's get out of here. Come back when you get a sense of humour. Right, okay, so that was Paul, the comedian, on Let's Just Shoot Larry and the island of Nontoonyt. If that, I can never say that right. So is Let's Just Shoot Larry racist? Well, the answer is quite complex. The series includes content that can be seen as racially insensitive, and it's crucial to also consider its historical context as well and the creator's intent. This doesn't excuse the content, but it helps us to understand it also. So if you do plan on revisiting Let's Just Shoot Larry, it requires a bit of a nuanced approach. Recognise its place in gaming history and understand its context, and use it as a conversation starter about how far we've come in media representation. Thanks for watching, and I'll catch you in the next video.
Nice shooting, son. What's your name?
Chewie.